Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar titled Shower Waterproofing Options. I'm Jim Olson with the National Tile Contractors Association. I want to thank you and welcome you for taking time out of your busy schedule to attend today's webinar, sponsored by Ardex Tile and Stone Installation Systems. These are very informative, and I think you'll find it a great program. But before we start, I need to remind you that during this webinar, it will be muted. Please use the questions area on your computer to type in your questions, and we'll answer those questions at the end of this presentation. If the audio on your computer is poor, call the number on the invite to this webinar and listen on your phone. All NTCA webinars are available to watch at any time on the NTCA YouTube channel shortly after the webinars are presented. This will give you easy access to watch and or share all current and past programs at your convenience. Here we go. Today's speaker, Mark Pennine, has been involved in the tile and stone industry for over 35 years. As a third-generation tile installer, Mark owned his own tile contracting business for 20 years. Mark has worked for Ardex Americas for the past 11 years, most recently as the technical manager of the tile and stone installation systems. He has presented tile and stone installation products and procedures to contractors, architects, manufacturers, and distributors. Mark is active on many industry committees, including the ANSI ASC A108 Standards Committee, the NTCA Technical Committee, MMSA, and the IICRC Substrate Committee. Welcome, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. I really appreciate the opportunity to discuss shower waterproofing systems. We've all come to realize that water can be very destructive. Extreme damage can occur when a leak goes undetected for a long period of time. Wood will rot, mold and mildew can form, and in most cases, a complete gut of the shower is needed, and even sometimes the ceiling or rooms close by need to be totally gut as well. Today, there are various options for waterproofing showers. Let's take a look at shower pan options. Some of the older technologies, they used to be lead or copper pans, chloralloy liners, and even hot mops. Hot mops, I know, are still popular in California. But today, we have much easier application type products like roll-on or brush-on liquid membranes, sheet applied membranes. We have foam shower pans with an intact waterproof coating already installed. What are some of the typical areas where waterproofing is needed? Of course, residential showers, residential steam showers, commercial showers or gang showers, and commercial steam rooms. Now, when we use waterproofing products, according to the ANSI A11810, these products are waterproofing products that stop water from the top down. For a commercial steam room, that product also has to pass the ASTM E96 vapor barrier test, and they must have a 0.5 perm or less to be considered a vapor barrier in a continuous use steam room. There are a few different options for drains as well. You have your standard point drain that has the weep holes in the bottom. You have a bonded flange where you can do topside waterproofing, and you have linear drains which offer both, either a weep hole system or a topside waterproofing system as well. For the drain covers, there are various designs and finishes. It varies from manufacturer to manufacturer. It's not very hard to find a drain cover, whether it's linear, square, or round, that will meet all your demands for what you're looking for to match your fixtures in your shower or your tub area. For the towel installer that still prefers to install a mud bed, they can utilize a roll-on liquid applied membrane or a sheet membrane that meets ANSI 11810, and they are also IAPMO approved as a shower pan liner. Also, mud beds can still be used if the towel installer chooses to use a foam board instead of a mud wall application or a cement board wall application. There are a couple options when using these paintable or sheet applied membranes when tying into a drain. This is one example. This is called the divot method, where the waterproof membrane comes down the wall, goes across top side of the mud bed, but yet an area close to the drain is cut out. The mud is not put in there, and the waterproof dips down and ties into the bottom of the drain. And then the mud's packed on top of it. This gives the topside waterproofing on the back side of the shower and allows the moisture to penetrate through the area around the drain and then down through the mud bed and into the weep holes. For roll-on or paint-on membranes, they can be one component, pre-mixed acrylic-based, or one or two component cement-based products. When installing a waterproofing membrane that is roller applied, it's always recommended to apply at least 2 coats. It's always recommended also to do your first coat in one direction and your second coat in the opposite direction. The reason for this is if there's a pinhole, it will cover go in the opposite direction for certain rather than going over it the same way as you did the first coat. If you were painting over cement board, you'll see pinholes in the existing cement board a lot that are very hard to fill in sometimes. And we have found that when you put the coats of the liquid applied membrane in opposite directions in coats, you'll get those pinholes closed. Also, we always recommend using a mesh tape for reinforcement in your corners and your change of plane. When you change of plane, it's from your floor to the wall or your corners from wall to wall. Always read the manufacturer's recommendation for millage thickness requirements for the liquid waterproofing product you're using. That is very important for your warranty. These products are made to, again, stop topside waterproofing, but they are thin applied coats. So you have to make sure that you're putting the proper mill thickness of coats onto the substrate that will achieve water tightness. Sheet membranes are installed with a polymer modified towel mortar. They're easy to cut, fit, and install. You can utilize the overlap method where you overlap the first sheet over your next sheet by 2 inches, or the butt up method where you butt the 2 sheets together and then treat the seam with a seam tape. Again, it is recommended to always use the seam tapes at the corners and change of planes for reinforcing. The following pictures will give you some examples of the installation of the 2 methods. The first one is the 2 sheets that are butted up to each other. And then you trowel your modified towel mortar over the seam, apply your waterproof seam tape, and then you can use your trowel or a putty knife to flatten out the seam tape and remove all the air from underneath the tape to get a nice flat, smooth surface. In the second example, we're using the 2-inch overlap. We've put the first panel on, the first sheet membrane on, and then we've applied our towel mortar 2 inches over that seam, and then we applied the second sheet 2 inches over the seam and into place next to the first sheet membrane. At that point, you just want to smooth that seam out, and you can just run your towel mortar down that seam just to give you a nice smooth transition. Shower pan systems are becoming very popular today. Let's take a look at the foam preformed shower systems. Multiple manufacturers offer pre-sloped, lightweight foam shower pans and building boards. Some already have the waterproofing membrane intact. They can be either cement and mesh or covered with a fabric. The advantage of using foam pans are they can be easily made into custom sizes. Most manufacturers will offer a half a dozen of basic sizes that would fit most bathrooms. But the unique properties of foam and the manufacturing methods to form and shape the foam makes this product very easily to adapt to many different sizes and shapes. Also, it's not always necessary to have your drain centered in the middle of the shower. You can actually have a shower pan with an offset drain, so you don't have to move your existing plumbing. Is all you have to do is take measurements, draw them out on a sheet of paper, and send them to the manufacturer of that foam board, and they can make you a pan that will fit your dimensions with your drain located exactly where it sits. All of these foam pans are also pre-sloped. So that's all done for you no matter what shape and size you order. For walls, the foam building panels come in various sizes as well as various thicknesses. This is a big advantage when you're doing remodeling work. A lot of times when you're going up against a plaster wall or maybe a wall that is built for fire rating, you would need a thicker foam board than a 1/2 inch. So you can get a 5/8 inch thick board, or just the opposite. Maybe that you want to use a certain substrate and you just want to build out on top of that substrate, and as all you need is a board that's an 1/8 inch or 3/16 inch thick. That can be accommodated as well. These foam boards are easily installed with galvanized screws and washers. Most manufacturers will also offer a full line of accessories. They'll have shampoo shelves or niches and curbs that are made out of the same foam and waterproof with the same material. Other accessories are the pipe collar and the mixing valve seal, your inside and outside corners, and your seam tape. All these things help make your job much easier to install and much waterproof and tight for your tile installation. These building panels come in thick 2-inch thicknesses as well. You can build benches or you can get curved walls. You can build countertops and you can even make pony walls if needed out of the same foam material. Lightweight, easy to cut, easy to install, no framing needed. You just want to use a good MS polymer adhesive or sealant to glue these panels to the substrate and to each other. And they are rigid and they are ready for tile. They are already waterproofed. Let's go through a typical shower installation using a foam-based shower system. The first thing you want to do is you want to make sure your floor is level. Again, these pans, they all come pre-pitched. So inside the pan, it's going to have its 2% slope, but the pan itself has to sit on a level surface, or that's going to throw off your pitch to drain. So make sure your surface is level. If it's not, there's preparation products you can use to get that surface into level. If you have an existing drain that's in the floor, most manufacturers will have a retrofit option to connect the existing plumbing to the new pan. Always be sure to use a good sealant between the existing flange and the adapter before screwing the adapter on. You want to comb out your polymer modified tile mortar onto the shower floor using the manufacturer's recommended size notch trowel. In some cases, you'll trowel out the mortar on both the floor as well as the bottom of the shower pan. You want to make sure all your shower pan drain fittings are snug, tight, and plumb before installing the pan. Carefully install the pan into the wet tile mortar, connecting the pan drain to the floor drain. Always apply pressure first around the drain to ensure a good connection, and then move your hands to side by side and front and back to make sure the whole pan is fit snug. Now you can start your walls. Cut and fit your panels to the dimensions of your walls and fasten with galvanized screws and washers every 12 inches vertically on 16-inch center studs. Be sure to apply a bead of sealant between the wall boards and the shower pan. Also, apply sealant between the boards and at the corners where they meet wall to wall. Always use a generous bead of sealant. If you're installing a shower or a shampoo niche, you can mark and place and set the niche with your sealant, and then you'll place your sealant around the niche and then continue with your walls. Once all the walls are installed, then you can start installing your sealing products. Here we're installing the mixing valve seal. Again, you're just going to use your polymer modified towel mortar, comb it on with a V-notch trowel, embed your valve seal, your mixing valve seal, and then flatten and smooth out with the flat side of your trowel or a drywall knife. Your pipe collar is applied the same way. A tight fit around the pipe, embedded into your polymer modified towel mortar, and then smooth out with the flat side of your trowel or a drywall knife. Now you can install your foam curb by running a bead of sealant on the side of the foam pan and troweling your towel mortar onto the floor and the bottom of the curb. You want to set your curb in place, move it back and forth to confirm a good solid bond into your mortar and your adhesive bond to the side of the pan. As you can see, we applied the box that the shower pan came in. We took the box and we cut it and we protected the shower pan with part of the box. So when I get into the shower pan to install the taping, I won't damage the existing waterproof layer of the floor. You want to cover all your screws and washers with a premium waterproof sealant as well. Install your preformed inside and outside corners. Then install your membrane at the change of plane and corners with a polymer modified towel mortar. Again, this gives the system extra reinforcement. This will help protect any future cracks that could cause water to leak in the smallest hole. And now you have a completed, waterproofed, watertight shower that will last a lifetime. Thank you, and I'll take some questions.
Mark, great job. Very quickly presented, but great detail and great information for everybody. We have a couple questions here. We've got the first one, and it says, how can one test for thickness to ensure it's the correct mill when you're talking about a trowelable membrane?
Yeah, you need a mill gauge. So your manufacturer that sells the product, they should provide a mill gauge, and you can probably get that at the distributor that you purchase your manufacturer's waterproofing products from.
Great. And it's a small little thing. It's about this big. It's got little notches in it. You put into the trowelable membrane, and it will show you where it comes up to, which is real easy to use. So here's one. It looks like this is someone that uses Ardex. Are we, the pictures you're showing, is that the new Ardex shower system?
Yes, it is. It's called TLT.
All right, great. TLT from Ardex. That's great. All right, well, you did a fantastic job. And oh, here's a couple more. Let's see what else we got here. Mark Heinlein, who is one of NTCA's trainers, he's our training director, and he said that NTCA workshops, we help attendees learn how to use the wet film thickness gauges. And there is a little trick to it, but it's easy to do. So come and see an NTCA workshop, and they'll be able to help you, and we'd love to be there. Got another one here. Is there a minimum maximum pan size before another drain may be required for proper drainage pitch? In other words, a regular size shower has one drain. Is there a size where you need to put in two?
I don't know that answer, but I think it has a lot to do with the amount of water that's flowing. So if that shower is very large and the homeowner, or whether it's a commercial shower, gang shower, and there's multiple shower heads, maybe a rain head, some jets, then there's a quantity of water that flows that determines, first it determines how big a pipe you have to have, and then it can determine if you need a second or third drain.
Mark, can you make a suggestion on where they would find that out? Is that at local codes, or where do you think they could find that answer?
I would check your local building codes first, the plumbing codes, but I would, it's probably, again, a local code. They probably differ from geographical location to location.
Great, great. All right, we got another one. We've got a GC here, and he says, as a GC, if I'm checking after the sub has rolled it on, so 2 coats dried, is there a way to test it?
Well, you want to test it when you're as a wet film. So once it's dried, it's a little bit more difficult because you have a little bit of a shrinking effect to it. So, but the best test to do for a pan is to do a water test. You want to clog your drain hole, use an inflatable rubber drain plug, and you want to fill that pan up with water to a certain level, mark that level, and then leave it sit for 24 hours. Come back and check that point to where your water is, and if it's below that level, then there's a good chance that you have a leak somewhere.
Oh, so my apology to the GC was not a he, but a she, and I apologize. So sorry about that, Gail. All right. So the gentleman, or Gail, was just talking about testing the thickness, and she says testing it on the wall. And so Mark, really important thing that you said is you have to test the thickness while it's wet. That's the only way you can really, I suppose you could cut some out and have it microscopically measured or whatever, but you do that actually you use that gauge and you do it while it's wet. So you would need to be there before it dries, correct?
Correct.
All right. Oh, okay. So we were asking, where would you find out when a second drain needs to be put in, or questions like that? One of our attendees here, Lindell Lummer, said CTIOA field report online. It's online. It's in the slope to drain report. They have answers for you on when you would need to, the amount of water going in before you need 2 drains, etc. So again, CTIOA field report, and the section is the slope to drain report. Good information there.
Yeah.
All right. How about this? When given flood test, if it's leaking, what is recommended? What are the recommended next steps if it's leaking?
Well, first you have to determine what is leaking, where it's leaking. Is it the liquid applied or sheet applied membrane that was installed, or is it the drain, or is it the drain connections, the plumbing itself? So if there's access underneath the shower, that's the best option for you, because you can first look at the drain itself. There are other ways to do it. You can get a infrared heat gun that we use for our heating installations, and you can fill a pan up with hot water, and you can use an infrared camera to determine where the water's leaking. It will actually show up on infrared light camera of the hot water and where the leak is. Besides that, it's a visual kind of, getting down close, doing a visual inspection. So you got to kind of use all those things together. But I would always start with your drain connections and your plumbing first, and then move into your waterproof application.
So if it's leaking, there's quite a process that goes into it, right?
Absolutely.
Trying to find it. Yeah, absolutely. So make sure you do it right the first time. We don't want any of you to have any leaks, for sure. All right, here's one. So you talked about putting 2 coats of this membrane on, this trowelable membrane. Do you put a coat on, measure it, put a second coat on and measure it, and then add them together? Is that how you come up with your sum?
Correct. That's exactly correct.
Great, great. All right. Anybody else type in any questions in? All right. I want to thank you, Mark. I want to thank all of you for attending. We've got a big holiday weekend coming up, and I hope all of you enjoy it. Please look forward to NTCA's next webinar. It will be July 12th. Invites will be coming out right after the 4th of July. I can't thank you enough, Mark. These are great informational presentations. I hope all of our attendees enjoyed it. Have a great weekend, and thank you all.
Bye.
Bye, Mark.
Thank you. Bye-bye.